All right, everybody, welcome back. Today is October 26th. It is a Thursday. Happy Thursday, everybody out there. Today's question for the bell ringer is looking at the end of the war, because earlier in this chapter, this unit, we talked about the beginning of the war, what are the causes, what events sparked the war, how does the fighting take place throughout this war, and then we continue onward to discuss how the war affects Americans at home, how the war affects American soldiers when they get over there, and what is trench warfare. So we get into all these different concepts of war. Now that the armistice or the ceasefire has been agreed upon on November 11th of 1918, now it's up to every party involved in this war to come to an agreement as to what the world will look like after the war is over, hence a peace treaty. The question today is asking you the difference between a balance of power between nations and a community of power. The part when I ask this question, at least the answer of the intention of this, is to say that we're not creating organized rivalries here, but organized peace. The idea is that if you balance the power out between different nations, one of the countries, and people, we're human beings, we're greedy, no one's going to be happy with the power that they are given, if they are given power amongst a group of nations. So there's always going to be one country that's always going to be upset. So if you create that balance of power, you're creating rivalries between nations, which most people think is unnecessary. But if you create a community of power where they're all understanding together and they all can share their ideas and they all have equal power amongst each other in a negotiating-like fashion or a conference-type fashion, you're going to create organized peace. So this is one of those areas that we look at. Yes, you can say balance of power, it balances everything out evenly. However, each country's take on what is even will be different. So there will always be one country that's never too happy by this. So that's something to be careful about when you answer this. But I just wanted to give you an idea of when these countries and this war is over, and they try to figure out what the world is going to look like after the war is over. It's really important for them to create a community of power at this point. At least a couple sides want that. A couple of the sides want to create that balance and really try to create these rivalries again to where we see countries that are meant to be different and are supposed to be different. All right. So today's discussion goes on here, and what I do here in the next part of the class is actually assign a discussion on the effects of war on immigration. Also, I just want to make it clear as well before I forget. Yesterday on the 25th, we did get a World War I test study guide, and you can find that on my Canvas page. If you go to Canvas and you go to the top of World War I, you can see the study guide. You can print that out and download it. If you're in class today and you see it and you need a study guide, don't be afraid to ask me and let me know, but make sure you get this and download it as soon as you can. That way you don't miss anything. You won't get, just do everything you can to get that and try to complete it using the book pages. All right? So let me go back to this here. On Canvas, I have opened up a discussion board for this one particular question because in the past few days we've talked about how immigration between from European nations to America was halted, especially from Germany. So I set up the prompt here by saying, during World War I, many immigrants from Germany had been kept out of the U.S. because many Americans wished they'd be kept out for fear that they might be spies or disloyal to the core American values. Today, we have a president who, at one time, wished to keep all Muslims out of the country until they can be properly screened to ensure they won't do the country harm. Now, we all know at this section right here, with Trump and what he wished to do, how much outrage came about as a result of it. My question to you is, during World War I, Americans were okay with German immigration halting because of the idea of safety. My question is it right to discriminate now in the 21st century in our war against terror when it seemed like a logical idea almost 100 years ago against the Germans? Why or why not? Okay, is it right to discriminate at this point right now? And you give me the reasons why. So, one thing I need you to do is respond to the prompt on Canvas in a few sentences. So if you go to Canvas, I'll cancel out here again to show you what I mean. If you go to Canvas and you go to discussions, you will see on discussion board, effects of war on immigration. Click on that. And you can see I had a couple of replies up here already entered. And once you enter your reply, that's one part of the assignment. The second part of it is to reply to at least one response to this. All right, if you want to like it, you can like it. If you not, whatever. But put your response in. Maybe wait a couple of days until more and more people get online to respond to it. But at least now you can see what people want to write, and then you can reply. Like if I want to reply to Mary's here, you can enter that in. All right, and then hit enter and submit. Okay, so it gives you the opportunity to do that, and it gives you an idea. So you need to respond to the prompt that I have up here. All right, And then secondly, you need to reply to at least one response from your classmates. So there'll be over 150 responses on this page, hopefully, by the end of next week, which is going to be the due date for this. It's going to be November 2nd. So do your best to get this prompt answered and also respond to somebody else. Please do not respond with, I agree with your statement. That is not a proper response. You need to support what they're saying with maybe evidence that you argued as well. You know, what else are you saying? Do you disagree with somebody? In fact, I actually encourage you to find somebody you disagree with and state why they might be a little off on their opinions. But it's, again, these are opinions. Do not always assume that what you say is always correct or that everybody else will have to follow the same case. It's freedom of speech. Everybody has a right to their opinion. So make sure you use evidence to support your statement. Okay? Don't get upset with people if they don't agree with you. They don't have to. It's not what this is about. It's about opening discussion, opening channels as to, you know, why during World War I it seemed like a good idea to keep Germans from entering the country. But now today, everybody's up in arms when the president decides that they want to eliminate Muslims from coming into the country until they can be screened. So it's one of those things that just do your best to answer the question based on what you believe. You know, don't be afraid what anybody else says too, because you have a right to your opinion and freedom of speech. All right, no one's going to get written up for what they say as long as it's appropriate. You got to keep it appropriate. So please do that. All right. So that's the Canvas discussion post. I just kind of went through the class and reminded you about that. What we continue then as well is looking at Wilson's 14 points. On your note sheet, there are 2 questions. So if you have your note sheet in front of you, to get that out. There are 2 questions that we have here on what are Wilson's goals before heading off to Europe, because he's the first president, sitting president, to go and to make a case for America heading off into the discussion. So do your best to make sure you can answer these questions. So what would Wilson's goals be? Come into the war late, you saved the war, what would you want to see happen? Okay? Now, then the second part of the question, with the high casualties sustained by the Allies, what do you think Britain and France wanted? Do you think it was the same as Wilson, or do you think it was different? But again, they sustained much higher casualties or deaths during the war, so do your best to kind of maybe find a difference. What would they want that was different? After that, we watched a quick video, which is also on Canvas. You could open that up. Watch the video on your note sheet. I give you a little space for you to write about what each one of the members wanted, or the main ideas or main goals that each member wanted out of the big 3, with President Wilson, Lloyd George, and George Clemenceau. David Lloyd George is the Prime Minister of Britain at this time period, but get each of these main goals down on your note sheet. Also, we continue onward to Wilson's most important goal. It's the League of Nations. It's an organization in which the nations of the world would join together to ensure security and peace for all of its members. So, copy those notes down, and then I ask you to think about as well, and write this down too, on your own. What possible reason could you find the U.S. not wanting to go along with this idea? This looks fantastic, how it appears. But Americans were kind of they're uneasy about this idea. And what possible reasons would you want to think about that? And kind of think about going along with what makes this war huge in the first place. All right. I do also want to point out that resources that I have up on Canvas that you can use are on Canvas here. If you go all the way down to the bottom of the page, you can notice that I have 14 points. If you open these documents up, you can see Wilson's original goals. I have the original document and the one that's a little bit easier to understand. It's simplified. And here's the video, and then you can watch this video at this point to kind of catch up with these notes. So that's pretty much all we did today. If you have any questions about this, please come and email me or see me at the end of the day, whenever you're here, and let me know, or at the end of the class every day. All right, everyone have a fantastic day. I will see you tomorrow.